Magnificat anima mea Dominum,
et exsultat spiritus meus in Deo salutari meo,
quia respexit humilitatem mansile sue, ex enim ex hoc beata medicent omnes generationes.
quia fecit me magna qui potens est, et sanctum nomen eius,
Et misericordia eius a progenie in progenies, dimentibus eum,
fecit potentiam in brachio suum, dispersit superbos mente cordis sui,
deposuit potentes sede, et exaltavit humile.
Suriente simple vit bonis, et divit est misit inane,
Suscepit Israel puerum suum, recordatus misericordiae suae.
sicut locutus est ad patres nostros, Abraham et semini eius in saecula.
Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto,
Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will, by the servant of God, Luisa Picaretta, little daughter of the Divine Will. For private use only. Meditations for the month of May, for the House of the Divine Will. May 6, 1930. Luisa Picaretta. Fiat. JMJ. Maternal Appeal of the Queen of Heaven. Dearest daughter, I feel the irresistible need to descend from heaven to make you my maternal visits. If you assure me of your filial love and faithfulness, I will remain always with you in your soul, to be your teacher, model, example, and most tender mother. I come to invite you to enter into the kingdom of your Mama, that is, the kingdom of the Divine Will, and I knock at the door of your heart, that you may open it to me. You know, with my own hands I bring you this book as gift. I offer it to you with maternal care, so that in your turn, in reading it, you may learn to live of heaven and no longer of earth. This book is of gold, my child. It will form your spiritual fortune, your happiness, also terrestrial. In it you will find the font of all goods. If you are weak, you will acquire strength. If you are tempted, you will achieve victory. If you have fallen into sin, you will find the pitying and powerful hand that will lift you up again. If you feel afflicted, you will find comfort. If cold, the sure means to get warm. If hungry, you will enjoy the delicious food of the divine will. With it you will lack nothing. You will no longer be alone, because your Mama will keep you sweet company, and with her every maternal care, she will take on the commitment of making you happy. I, the Celestial Empress, will take care of all your needs, provided that you consent to live united with me. If you knew my yearnings, my ardent sighs, and also the tears I shed for my children, if you knew how I burn with the desire that you listen to my lessons, all of heaven, and learn to live of divine will. In this book, you will see wonders. You will find a Mama who loves you so much as to sacrifice her own beloved son for you, in order to allow you to live of that same life of which she lived upon earth. Oh, please, do not give me this sorrow. Do not reject me. Accept this gift of heaven that I am bringing you. Welcome my visit, my lessons. Know that I will go throughout the whole world. I will go to each individual, to all families, to religious communities, to every nation, to all peoples. And if needed, I will go around for entire centuries, until as queen, I have formed my people, and as mother, my children, who would know the divine will and let it reign everywhere. Here is the purpose of this book explained to you. Those who will welcome it, with love, will be the first fortunate children who will belong to the kingdom of the divine fiat. And I, with gold characters, will write their names in my maternal heart. See, my child, that same infinite love of God, which in redemption wanted to use me in order to make the eternal Word descend upon earth, is now calling me into the field once again, entrusting to me the difficult task, the sublime mandate of forming on earth the children of the kingdom of his divine will. Therefore, with maternal care I set to work, and I prepare for you the way which will lead you to this happy kingdom. For this purpose, I will give you sublime and celestial lessons, and finally, I will teach you special and new prayers, through which you will commit the heavens, the sun, the creation, my very life and that of my Son, and all the acts of the saints, so that in your name they may impetrate the adorable kingdom of the divine will. These prayers are the most powerful, because they bind the very divine operating. By means of them, God will feel disarmed and conquered by the creature. Confident of this help, you will hasten the coming of his most happy kingdom, and with me, you will obtain that the divine will be done on earth as it is in heaven, according to the desire of the divine Master. Courage, my daughter. Make me content, and I will bless you. Prayer to the Celestial Queen for each day of the month of May. Immaculate Queen, my celestial mother, I come onto your maternal knees to abandon myself in your arms as your dear daughter, in order to ask of you, with the most ardent sighs, in this month consecrated to you, the greatest of graces, that you admit me to live in the kingdom of the divine will. Holy Mamma, you who are the queen of this kingdom, admit me to live in it as your daughter, that it may no longer be deserted, but populated by your children. Therefore, Sovereign Queen, I entrust myself to you, that you may lead my steps in the kingdom of the divine will. And as I cling to your maternal hand, you will lead all my being to live perennial life in the divine will. You will be my Mamma, and to you, as my Mamma, I deliver my will, that you may exchange it with the divine will, and so I may be sure I will not go out of its kingdom. Therefore I pray you to illumine me in order to make me comprehend what will of God means. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now, and at the hour of our death. Amen. Little Sacrifice of the Month. Each morning, midday, and night, 3 times a day, let us go onto the knees of our celestial Mamma and say to her, My Mamma, I love you. And you, love me and give a sip of divine will to my soul. Give me your blessing, that I may do all of my actions under your maternal gaze. The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. Day 26. The Queen of Heaven in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. The hour of sorrow approaches. Painful separation. Jesus in his public and apostolic life. The soul to her celestial mother. Here I come again to you, my Queen Mamma. Today, my love of daughter toward you makes me run to be spectator of when my Jesus, separating from you, goes on his way to form his apostolic life in the midst of creatures. Holy Mamma, I know that you will suffer very much. Each moment of separation from Jesus will cost you your life. And I, your child, do not want to leave you alone. I want to dry your tears, and with my company, I want to break your loneliness. And as we remain together, you will continue to give me your beautiful lessons on the divine will. Lesson of the Queen of Heaven. My dearest child, your company will be very pleasing to me, because in you I will feel the first gift that Jesus gives me, a gift made of pure love, produced by his sacrifice and mine, a gift which will cost me the life of my son. Now, pay attention to me and listen. Hear, my child, a life of sorrow, of loneliness, and of long separations from my highest good Jesus begins for your Mamma. His hidden life is ended, and he feels the irresistible need of love to go out in public, to make himself known, and to go in search of man, lost in the maze of his will and prey to all evils. Dear Saint Joseph had already died. Jesus was leaving, and I remained alone in the little house. When my beloved Jesus asked me for the obedience to leave, because he did nothing without first telling me, I felt a blow in my heart. But knowing that that was the supreme will, immediately I pronounced my fiat. I did not hesitate one instant, and between my fiat and the fiat of my son, we separated. In the ardor of our love, he blessed me and he left me. I accompanied him with my gaze while I could, and then, withdrawing, I abandoned myself in that divine will which was my life. But oh, power of the divine fiat! This holy will never let me lose sight of my son, nor did he lose me. On the contrary, I felt his heartbeat in mine, and Jesus felt mine in his. Dear child, I had received my son from the divine will, and whatever this holy will gives is not subject either to ending or to suffering separation. Its gifts are permanent and eternal. Therefore my son was mine. No one could take him away from me, neither death, nor sorrow, nor separation, because the divine will had given him to me. So our separation was the appearance, but in reality we were fused together, more so since one was the will that animated us. How could we separate? Now you must know that the light of the divine will allowed me to see how badly and with how much ingratitude they treated my son. He directed his step toward Jerusalem. His first visit was to the Holy Temple, in which he began the series of his preachings. But sorrow! His word, full of life, bearer of peace, of love, and of order, was misinterpreted and badly listened to, especially by the erudite and the learned of those times. And when my son said that he was the Son of God, the Word of the Father, the one who had come to save them, they took such offense that they wanted to devour him with their furious gazes. Oh, how my beloved good Jesus suffered. His creative word, rejected, made him feel the death which they gave to his divine word. And I was all attention, all eyes, in looking at that divine heart bleeding. And I offered him my maternal heart to receive the same wounds, to console him and give him a support when he was about to succumb. Oh, how many times after imparting his word, I saw him forgotten by all, without anyone who would offer him a refreshment. Alone outside of the city walls, outside under the vault of the starry heavens, leaning on a tree, crying and praying for the salvation of all. And I, your mamma, dear child, cried with him from my little house. And in the light of the divine fiat, I sent him my tears as refreshment, my chaste embraces, and my kisses as comfort. But in seeing himself rejected by the great, the learned, my beloved son did not stop, nor could he stop. His love ran, because he wanted souls. So he surrounded himself with the poor, the afflicted, the sick, the lame, the blind, the mute, and with many other maladies by which the poor creatures were oppressed, all of them images of the many evils which the human will had produced in them. And dear Jesus healed everyone. He consoled and instructed everyone. So he became the friend, the father, the doctor, the teacher of the poor. My child, it can be said that the poor shepherds were the ones who received him with their visits at his birth, and the poor are those who follow him in the last years of his life down here unto his death. In fact, the poor, the ignorant, are more simple, less attached to their own judgment, and therefore they are more favored, more blessed, and preferred by my dear Son. So much so that he chose poor fishermen as apostles, as pillars of the future church. Now, dearest child, if I wanted to tell you what my son and I did and suffered during these 3 years of his public life, I would be too long. What I recommend to you is that in everything you may do and suffer, your first and last act be the divine fiat. In the fiat, I separated from my son, and the fiat gave me strength to make the sacrifice. In the same way, you will find strength for everything, even in the pains that cost you your life, if you enclose everything in the eternal fiat. Therefore give your word to your mamma, that you will let yourself be found always in the divine will. In this way, you too will feel the inseparability from me and from our highest good, Jesus. The soul. My most sweet mamma, how I compassionate you in seeing you suffer so much. Oh, please, I pray you, pour your tears and those of Jesus into my soul, to reorder it and enclose it in the divine fiat. Little sacrifice. Today, to honor me, you will give me all your pains as company to my loneliness, and in each pain you will place an I love you for me and for your Jesus, to repair for those who do not want to listen to the teachings of Jesus. Ejaculatory prayer. Divine Mamma, may your word and that of Jesus descend into my heart and form in me the kingdom of the divine will. You have reached the end of day 26 of the Virgin Mary in the kingdom of the divine will.